You need to leave. You need to go before I call the cops. I'm like, oh, that's how you want to play? that's how you want to play? Okay. I ain't scared of no cops. I ain't scared of no police. I ain't scared of no jail time. He's in his underwear, no shirt, mind you. That's cute.
It feels like I'm skydiving when I text you. Rose petals on the floor outside your bedroom. Sunshine whenever you smile.
Back with another video. Today I'm gonna talk about the time I threw a rock through my ex's window. We were together at the time. It was also my window because I was living there. But yeah, long story short, that's what I'm gonna talk about today. Need some more coffee for this. Hold up. I've put this video off for so long because one of the main reasons why I wanted to start a YouTube channel revolves around this incident and this issue. I'm gonna look a mess, but that's okay. Okay, so for this incident, we need to go back to 2017. It was the tail end of 2017. At this time, my son's father and I had been together for close to 3 years. We got together in the summer of 2015. And we're looking at around holiday time, literally right after Thanksgiving, right before Christmas. So I'm gonna try and make this long story as short as I possibly can. We were going through some things and my partner had talked to his mother and she suggested to him, to us, that we should take a break. I should go stay in a hotel room for about a week or two, or he should go stay with a friend or something for a week or two and just kind of separate so we have time to miss each other. Because things were getting really tense, they were getting really argumentative, violent, almost on a daily basis. So I actually reached out to my mom and I had asked her if she would pay to put me and the boys in a hotel for a week. At this time that we were considering splitting up, we were talking about what was best for the boys because my oldest son is not biologically his, and our youngest son needed equal time with the both of us. So what I had done, if you watched my California CPS experience video, what I had done with my oldest son's father at the time was we did like a rotation of every 3 days because he was still really young. Our son at the time was about a year old when this incident happened. So he was still young enough to where we didn't want to shock him. We didn't want to throw the routine off too much, so we decided every 3 days was reasonable, doable, totally appropriate. Well, while I was staying in this hotel room, he made me take pictures and videos of what me and the boys were doing. I had to text him or send him pictures from Snapchat with the little timestamp on it as often as he requested. So I had our son one night. He worked at a casino where he worked graveyard shifts. So he got off around 7 in the morning. He came and stopped by my hotel room saying he was going to pick up the baby, or he just wanted to see us, or whatever it was. And he started demanding to look at my phone. I had downloaded Tinder and got back on my social medias, which I was off of for the duration of our relationship, and I didn't want him to see, obviously. So I was keeping my phone from him. He insisted that he see it, and once he got it in his hands, he almost shattered it. Wouldn't be the first time for that. He scared the boys. He scared me. He was very angry, slammed the door and left. That same day, we had plans to go to his parents' house for what they call a Thanksmas. Because their family is so big, rather than trying to get everyone together on Thanksgiving and trying to get everyone together on Christmas, they just do this celebration together. So it's smack dab in between the two holidays, usually around the beginning of December. Whoever can make it, makes it. And if you don't, that's fine too. With my oldest son having a different father, my ex always treated him somewhat differently. So I didn't want him to feel left out. After that argument in the morning, I didn't want to go. I didn't want to be around him. I didn't want to be with him. I didn't even want to go. It wasn't up until a few hours before it was time to go that I had decided to go. I kept insisting that he just take Brayden, who's my oldest son. I insisted and insisted and insisted. I insisted that he just take Brayden and that I wasn't going to go. That did not fly with him, obviously, because he thought that I had plans to get Dick. At least that's how harshly he said it. He said, "I'm not taking your son so you can get some dick." I said, "Fine, you know what? I'll go. I don't want to be there. I know they don't want me there. I don't feel very comfortable. But I'll go. It's for the boys." And, you know, it's nice to feel included. It's nice to feel involved with something. So I decided to go. I had drove my car to our apartment, our duplex, parked it there, and rode with him. Me and the boys loaded up in his vehicle and drove to his parents' property. After we were done with the dinner, I was supposed to have our son. It was my day. Once we were done, I was supposed to have him. We get to his parents' house. He's on his phone a lot. He's checking himself out in the mirror and taking pictures. So I went up to behind him, just kind of kicked him in the butt, in the back of his legs, just goofing around. And I had made a comment like, taking pictures for your new girlfriend or your new hoes or whatever us bitches do, right? And for some reason, that pissed everybody off. I was literally just joking, but it pissed everybody off. and it turned into like a, we won't tolerate this behavior and that is not okay. They're being abusive. By kicking him in the butt, I was being abusive because I felt threatened. I felt that he was doing something he shouldn't be doing, and I tried to make it fun and funny just so the worst case wouldn't happen. Because it was like, we had decided to separate, right? Me stay in a hotel with the boys, him stay in our home with just our youngest when he had him. Also, not fair. Something I'm going to make another video about later on. We were separated. We made this decision to take some time apart. However, we were still together. We had literally slept together a day before this incident had happened. Literally the night before. So with him still having sex with me, still wanting me to take pictures and videos, still wanting me to send them to him, and being able to account for what I did every second of every day, in my mind, in my eyes, we were still together. So he can say however he wants, whatever he wants, but in my opinion, we were together. We were in a relationship. We were taking a break. We were separating to be able to miss each other and try and rekindle why we originally fell for each other, and it just went completely south. I'm going to offer my opinion as to why it went completely south. Yes, I downloaded Tinder and got back on my social medias that day before this incident happened. I could have provoked it by doing those things. However, I knew that the entire course of our relationship, he had been talking to other women and trying to pursue relationships, whether that was sexual or dates with other women. He worked in a fucking casino, for crying out loud, with all kinds of attractive women. Well, some not attractive, but that's my opinion. And random customers that would come in and get drunk. He worked with the money, so they had to go to him to cash out their tickets, to get their membership card, all that shit. And I had caught him when I was pregnant with our son. He was texting an ex saying like, "Good morning, beautiful." And I found it and I said, "This is not something you just say to a friend. What the fuck is going on here?" And he ran around it and tried to accuse me of doing something else, and that's why I was freaking out about it. Anyways, got sidetracked. Let's go back to the incident on Thanksmas. So that's kind of what was happening. He was on his phone while we were eating dinner, even with his family, and I had made a comment about how disrespectful that it was. And he said some rude comment back to me, basically just telling me to stay in my place and I don't need to be concerned with what he's doing on his phone because we're not together. So that really hurt me. It really upset me. Not only because it was right in front of my face and there was nothing that I could do about it, but the fact that I had tried so hard for our relationship to work up to that point. And I thought what we were doing at the time was going to salvage that eventually. I was so wrong. It turned my life upside down. So I finished eating. I made sure that my son Brayden finished eating. I told him to go play. And I had stepped out on the front porch to smoke a cigarette. I was really upset. His mother was out there, his stepdad was out there, and his stepbrother was out there on the front porch. There was a little, like their little laundry room is right outside on the porch too. There's a kitchen window next to the laundry room and then the front door and then like the seating area. So I was sitting right next to his mom in the seating area, And his dad goes into the laundry room, gets the hard alcohol, offers me a shot. And I said, no, that's something I probably shouldn't do. There was an agreement that my son's father and I had made while we have the boys, and it was supposed to be my day that day, that there would be no drinking, no drugs, and no having people of the opposite sex or romantic interests around our child when we had him. If we wanted to do those things, do it on your own time when you don't have the kids. Totally respectful, totally understandable. I had no problem with that at all. I wasn't going to be pursuing anything, so that wasn't an issue. I didn't do drugs, so that wasn't an issue. I mean, I smoked weed, that's a plant. Anyways, barely drank. Wasn't an issue for me. But I was really upset, and I didn't know what to do. And they offered me a shot. I politely declined. That wouldn't be okay with him, right? And it was whiskey. Not really a fan of whiskey straight, okay? So I turned it down. And then his dad offered me a beer. I want to say it was like a Blue Moon or some type of ale or something. It was a little bit stronger. So I said, you know what, sure. He had already offered me the shot. They all saw that I was upset. They saw what happened at the dinner table, and nobody said anything. So they knew that I could probably use it. So I said, you know what? Sure. Thank you. I got the beer, started drinking on it. Then he comes out front. Probably when our son was finished eating, or he decided to put him down, or he finished texting his hoes, or whatever it was that he was doing while he was inside. Whatever he was doing while he was inside made him believe that I had to be doing something not okay outside. That's why I made that comment about texting his hoes or whatever, because he just came outside ready to fight. Like, he was ready. Pretty sure he called me some names. I blocked this part out of my memory. And I just remember I had drank half of the beer at this point. It still had half left. And everyone was outside with me. And he was insisting that I had drank the hard alcohol. And I said, no, I turned it down. That's why I have this beer. And he insisted. His mother even tried to say, I was sitting right here with her. She didn't drink that. She's only had this beer. That was not okay with him, regardless. Caused a huge scene. We argued, we fought, ruined the whole event. Not only for my kids and for us, but for everybody that was there, and for that I'm truly sorry. I know I didn't cause it alone. I don't like feeling like that, like I'm the reason for someone's pain, or I'm the reason for things not going right. So I've always felt bad about that. Caused a huge scene. We had to leave early. The whole time we were driving back to our apartment, his apartment, he was calling me names in front of my kids. He was yelling at me. He was accusing me. He was just being really nasty with me. Based on his behavior at the dinner, I had this thought or feeling that he might have plans with somebody. It was supposed to be my day with our son anyways. We were separated. Basically, I was just living less than a block away in a hotel room for a week. I knew that he was talking to other women. I had seen it. I had confronted him about it. He lied and lied and lied and lied and lied about it. So I just had this feeling in my gut that I knew he was going to be doing something, right? We get to the apartment. He said I broke the rule of the no drinking, drugs, or significant others around our son. I had half of a beer, not even enough to get drunk off of or even feel tipsy off of. But he said because of that, I broke the rule and I wasn't allowed to have our son. Take a moment to realize how fucking insane that sounds. He was there. His mother and father offered it to me. The fuck do you mean I broke the rule? Because I didn't ask your permission first? After you had just humiliated me in front of your family and my kids? You fucking kidding me? So he told me I couldn't have our son. And instead of parking his vehicle, because like I said, I had parked my vehicle there, basically just dropped it off and hopped in the car with him. Instead of parking his vehicle, he backed up and dropped us off. I went to grab our son's car seat and he yelled at me again. I said, well, why aren't you getting out? He was like, I have to go to Walmart and get something. And then I gotta go see my friend Jesse in Reno to to pick up some weed. I was like, that's strange. Because I literally just went to Walmart the day before that. I went to Walmart almost every day. And I was like, well, what do you need? And I was like, well, what do you need? Maybe I have it so you don't have to go. And he jumped down my neck. It got super defensive, started calling me names again, tried to speed off while I still had the door open, trying to grab our son, and just left and drove off. So I assumed he went to Walmart. I assumed he drove the 45 minutes to Reno and back. I just went to the hotel with Brayden. We did dinner, we brushed our teeth, played some games, went to bed. He wasn't answering my calls. He wasn't answering my texts. I got a really bad feeling in the pit of my stomach that he was doing something he wasn't supposed to. Just everything up to that point had been so sketchy. So I made the impulsive decision to drive over there. It was late. It was probably around 10 or something like that. And I remember right before I left, I had sent him a message. And it had said, I just keep looking out the window hoping to see your headlights. Despite how he had treated me and how I felt that day and after that event, I still had love for him. I still wanted to do anything that I could to salvage our family. And I tried really hard. Really, really hard. I fucking hate crying, bro. I literally hate crying. Fuck around and mess up my makeup. Alright, we're almost to the end. I can do this. So when he didn't respond to that message and he wasn't answering my calls They weren't just going straight to voicemail. It wasn't like he was ignoring them. He was just letting it ring through and not pick it up. On one of the last phone calls, I got the most sickening feeling in the pit of my stomach. I felt disgusting. I felt angry. I felt anxious. I felt all of the emotions and feelings that one would feel in that situation. So I hopped in my car and I drove over there. His vehicle was parked where it normally was parked, and the stall that belongs to our apartment where I normally park was empty. So I pull into my parking spot like normal. As I do so, to the right of me, there's a white Nissan that I don't recognize. We had lived in that apartment for over a year at the time, so I knew which cars came in and out, which ones were just visitors, friends. You know, I paid attention to that kind of stuff. And it was parked in a weird spot, kind of like kitty corner from his vehicle. So I knew that car was someone that was probably in my apartment. I started getting almost paranoid when I turned my car off. That feeling in my stomach just got worse and worse. Adrenaline started pumping. Felt my anger rising. My body temperature increased. I didn't know what I was gonna do, but I got out of the car. I had no plan. My plan was originally just to go there to even see if he was there, because last I knew he was driving all the way to Reno to pick up weed from his friend. I didn't know if he was back yet or not. I didn't know if he stayed there, went and did something else, or what. So that was originally all I was doing, was driving over there to see if he was even there. And when I saw that other vehicle there, it's like a switch in me just flipped. I walked the 10 to 20 steps that it takes to get to our front door quietly, because I knew what I knew. I walk up to the front door and I put my ear to the crack of the door. I heard a female's voice, and then I heard him laugh. And at that point, as soon as he laughed and I heard that voice, I blacked out. At least that's what I would call it. Because I was aware of what was going on, but I had no conscious control over my actions. And this has happened before, when I've gotten really angry or really upset, where I just block out certain things and I don't make rational decisions. As soon as I heard him laugh, I banged on the door as hard as I could 3 times. It goes dead silent. He said, "I know you're in there. I know that bitch is in there. Why do you have another bitch in our house with our son?" Whatever else I was saying, right? All of a sudden, he finally calls me. I answer the phone and I said, "Open the fucking door. Open the fucking door and let me in my house." He tells me, "You need to leave. You need to go before I call the cops." I'm like, "Oh, that's how you want to play?" That's how you want to play? Okay. I ain't scared of no cops. I ain't scared of no police. I ain't scared of no jail time. At this point. So this just makes me go harder. I start banging on the door, kicking the door, kneeing the door, screaming, yelling, screaming as loud as I could, saying whatever I could to try and get that motherfucker to come out. He pops open the door, probably just like that much. I was filled with so much adrenaline. I pushed that door open and threw him back onto the couch. I said, "Where is she? Where is she?" Walk down through the kitchen, bitch ain't there. Obviously, she ran the fuck upstairs because she's scared. He's in his underwear, no shirt, mind you. That's cute. We had actually decided that that evening we were going to wrap presents together and decorate for Christmas and put up our tree. When I got in that house, the tree was up. Our son's presents were wrapped, not my son's, not Braden's, just our youngest presents were wrapped and his daughter's presents. Decorations were up. Once I saw that, I felt even more betrayed. I started pushing my way to try to get upstairs to get to this female that I had heard. He insisted there's nobody there, but then he wouldn't let me get upstairs. I got almost halfway up those stairs and he ripped me down by my ankles, which pissed me off so much more that I just took my anger out on him. I don't remember the way things had went. I might have knocked over the tree. I'm pretty sure I tried to, at least. And then I know that I tried to hit him in the face at least 3 or 4 times. I don't remember making contact, but according to him, he had to take 3 days off of work because I had given him a black eye. I don't remember this at all. What I do remember is being on my back on the couch, trying to hit him, and he had picked me up and tried to throw me out the front door. Meanwhile, our son is there upstairs in his bed, asleep, I'm pretty sure. While this other woman is upstairs, more than likely with him, or in the same room as him, in my room, on my bed, on my couch. Anyways, he tried to throw me out the front door. I tried to fight back. I tried to brace myself against the wall and against the door so he couldn't fling me out the door. And I lost my grip against the side of the door, and I ended up doing like this tumble out the front door. I had lost my shoes right there at the front door on the inside of the house. And once he tumbled me out the door, he slammed the door and locked it. Probably said he was gonna call the cops. I got even more mad at this point. We had these nice boulders in front of our living room window, which was like our little gardening area that we were trying to build and plant things. I was so mad. I wasn't thinking at all. I just wanted back in that house. I wanted to get my hands on that fucking bitch and him again. So I wasn't thinking. I picked up this big boulder and I chucked it through the window as hard as I could, probably 3 to 5 feet away. Whole front window shatters. At that point, I'm like, all right, it's go big or go home. I had thrown it at the door at first to try and bust the door back open so I could get back in. Because he didn't allow me to have my own key, mind you. So that's why I couldn't just unlock the door. So I threw the boulder at the door, trying to get the door open, made that split-second decision to throw it at the window. The events that follow show the same pattern. So once that happened, in the back of my mind, in this rage, I'm like, oh fuck, go big or go home now. I fucked up. So broke the living room window, picked up a second boulder, chucked it at her car, chucked it at the back glass. And her windows were tinted. If you guys know anything about tinted windows, it makes it a lot harder for the windows to break because you have that protectant kind of in the middle of the glass, right? Anyways, it didn't break the window, and I threw it even harder than I threw the one at the kitchen window. But I guess that it bounced off the back glass onto the roof, creating a fat dent, and then slid all the way down the front windshield, landed on the hood of the car. So there was some damage to her vehicle in a total of, I don't remember. If I find the paperwork, I'll put it up here. And then I got in my car. At this point, I had been so loud, I knew the cops were coming. I was fucked, right? So I get in my car to leave, go back to my hotel room, and I was still so angry. My rage just kept boiling and boiling and boiling and boiling that I was in my car. I backed out. I seen his ass in the upstairs bedroom window, just looking at me. And the bitch was next to him. I saw her silhouette. And he's on the phone. I'm like, this motherfucker, dude, you got some nerve. Some fucking nerve. For a split second, I thought about driving my car into the building. There was a little ledge that I'd have to go over, then the grass, you got the few stair steps, and I already shattered the window, so there's nothing to really do except fuck my car up, so I didn't. But I made sure that he saw from the window me rev my engine up, drive forward a little bit, and then skirt back and leave. So I get back to the hotel, freaking the fuck out. Like, shit, like, dude, there's no way I'm getting out of this. There's no way that I can do all that and not face consequences. So I get in the shower. It's my first instinct. Get in the shower. I got dirt on me. I got blood all scraped down my knees. Just get in the shower. Act like I've been in the shower. If they show up, I've got wet hair, I'll be like, what? Huh? How does it know that? I just got out of the shower, right? Which I tried to say at first. They get there. They bang on the door while I'm still in the shower. Probably hadn't even been in the shower 2 minutes. And I'm like, fuck. So I put my clothes on. I go and open the door. They start asking me about it. They look over. They see my son asleep. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I was just in the shower. I haven't been there. And they're like, so you haven't been there at all today? And I stated, I was there around 6 o'clock. We went to his parents for dinner, and I hadn't seen him since. He hasn't responded to my calls or answered my text messages, actually. They wanted to see those. So I pulled up the messages, showed them. Then it starts getting to the ones that I had sent where I just wanted to see his headlights through the window, and I was sorry, and I missed him, and I loved him, and all that bullshit. Then I decided to tell the truth. I knew that wasn't working. It wasn't gonna work. One of the officers asked that if they went over the traffic cameras and the cameras from the hotel, if they would see that my car stayed there the whole time. So I was fucked. I was caught. I couldn't really lie my way out of that, and I just needed to own up to it anyways. I know I had caused a lot of damage. At the time, I didn't know what kind of damage I had caused to her car. And I knew I wasn't in the right state of mind. So I admitted it. I admitted that I was there. I begged them not to take me to jail. I was 5 hours away from any family or friends. I only knew him, his family, his friends. And if I went to jail, where would my son go? Our son was his, so he could go with him. But he wasn't Braden's father, so he couldn't go with him. They called CPS. And as soon as they had that social worker available and on her way to pick up my son, they put me in the back of that cop car and arrested me. Now, I want to say thank you to the Douglas County Sheriff that booked me in, because in the state of Nevada, forcing your way into someone's residence the way that I did would be considered breaking and entering, which is a felony. Which scared me. And I'd been in trouble a lot. In trouble with the law, not so much. And anything I had been in trouble with the law was a misdemeanor. Very minimum, very small compared to what you face when you get a felony. While he was booking me in, they took all my jewelry and inventoried everything. He told me that. He said, now I'm gonna cut you a break. Instead of 2 felonies and a misdemeanor, which would have been breaking and entering, domestic battery, and felony child endangerment. He decided to put it down as felony child endangerment. There was no way of getting around that. I left my son at the hotel by himself at 5 years old. No way getting around that. No way to excuse that at all. And it's something that's going to stick with me for the rest of my life. Something could have happened to him while I wasn't there. The worst things happen when you just walk away for a second. And then a misdemeanor domestic battery and 2 misdemeanor destruction of properties, 1 for the broken window and 1 for the damage to her car. So I was facing 3 misdemeanors and a felony. But I'm very thankful to that sheriff that made that decision, because it probably could have been a lot worse for me. I spent 72 hours in jail, in general population. That was the mandated minimum time that I had to spend for the domestic. This event started the downward spiral that my life has been these last 3 years. I ended up taking a plea deal and accepting the misdemeanor domestic battery charge, because that came with counseling, fines, jail time. That's all the court really wanted to see, is that they got their money out of me. In exchange for that misdemeanor domestic battery, the 2 destruction of properties were dropped. Although I did have to pay to repair the window, I did not have to pay to fix her car. She pretty much just wanted to wipe her hands clean and walk away from the situation. Respect her for that. Don't blame her. And she's actually very lucky and very fortunate to have gotten out of that situation with this person way earlier than I did. Her one mistake was staying with him after that night happened. He insisted it was the first time that they had ever hung out. Maybe, maybe not. Doesn't matter, in my opinion. Doesn't matter, in my opinion. It was still one of the most disrespectful things that could have been done. He told me that I couldn't have our son for having half of a beer and breaking his rules, but he could be downstairs in his underwear with some other bitch on my couch, and that was okay? Or was he just being vindictive? Or was he just being spiteful? And because she did this, well, I'm gonna go one up her and go do this. That was that was a lot of how our relationship went. If one person did something bad or that the other person didn't agree with, then the other person would sit there and do that same thing, but worse. So I did my time. I paid my fines, served my dues to the county of Douglas. I still fucking went back to him. Went back to him at least 2-3 times after that. I'll get into that in another video. As you can tell with my demeanor and how long this video has been, with the fact that I started crying in this video, and I've never cried in a YouTube video thus far, that this was extremely difficult for me. Even though I acted as a savage or reckless or whatever descriptive adjective you would like to use, it ruined my fucking life. I have a record now. I have a degree in child development and family relations. My record since this incident prevents me from using that. I tried to volunteer at my son's school because there's something that he wanted me to be there for him. And I went to do the fingerprints to get cleared to be able to go and volunteer or even really be on campus, besides to drop off my son, pick up my son, and drop off supplies to him. I would have to wait 7 years from my conviction date, which wasn't until March of 2018. That means that I will not be able to volunteer at my son's school until he's in middle school. And my youngest son, he'll be in probably 4th grade by the time that comes up. I'm not allowed to use the credentials that I worked for 5 years from the time that my oldest son was born until 2017. I thought I would be okay because it wasn't anything involving children or anything appropriate or a breach of trust. It wasn't anything like that, so I figured I'd be okay. Never assume. Do not ever assume. But if I took my case to trial, I ran that really high chance of being convicted for everything. That'd be the destruction of property ×2, the domestic battery, and then the felony child endangerment. That would have been bad. So I said, fuck it. What do I got to lose? Well, the answer to that was my future. There's a reason I didn't want to tell this story right away. And I waited over a year that my channel's been active to tell this story. But this is the basis of my desire and need to create a YouTube channel. Been through a lot of fucked up shit, and I've just beasted through it. Might have been emotional, might have been angry, and all of the above that you can think of. But this was it, guys. This is what started the downward spiral that has come to be my life now. Was this incident. This split second, impulsive, wild decision. Please don't be like me. Use what I'm saying and the stories that I tell as a lesson. I'm not cool because I threw a rock through a window of the living room that my son was sleeping. It's not cool to bring cold air of the winter through the living room window when my son needs to sleep in a comfortable and warm environment. It's not cool. Nothing about it was cool. Looking back on it now, I can laugh a little bit. I can joke a little bit about it. You know, you see a meme that talks about a crazy bitch throwing a rock through a window. You know, I can make light of it now. But when I sit down and think about it, it fucked up my life and everything that it could have been. And I'm just sitting here trying to pick up the pieces and trying to figure out what direction to take my life in now. I knew I was gonna get like this when I was done with this video. I'm just feeling very somber, just feeling very in my feelings. Just sad and disappointed with myself that I didn't put my kids first. I put my emotions and my relationship before their safety and well-being. It's fucked up to say, it's fucked up to admit, but it is what it is. If you stayed to the end of the video, thank you guys. I appreciate it a lot. If you want to subscribe, go for it. Like the video, comment your thoughts and opinions down below. Follow my social medias, and I'll see you guys when I make another video. Thanks.